This is the Create Your Own Space podcast, the podcast where we provide industry-leading information on balustrading products, the do's and don'ts that will help you create your own unique quality spaces for your home renovations or new build projects. Alrighty guys, good morning. Welcome back to the Create Your Own Space podcast. And today I do have a lot of questions, but before we do that, I hope all of the projects that you guys have been working on have been going to plan. And I'm so happy to see you guys back. But let's go ahead and get the day started. Today I have with me, like I said, I have lots of questions. I have with me Fernando. Fernando is one of our technical specialists here at Balconette. That is correct, technical specialist.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's great.
It's okay. Fernando, so before we start, can you give us, I know you're an architect, but can
Yes,
you give,
I am.
You are. Can you give me a little bit about your background before we get started?
Okay, so basically I studied architecture in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my degree there and I practiced there for over 6 years. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to relocate to the UK. Basically, I am the head of the technical department.
Okay.
Here.
So you are. So underneath you, you have maybe 5 or 6 people that work underneath you.
Yeah,
Cool,
that's
cool.
it.
Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I would like to talk about is our site survey, right? So you and I went out on a site survey with you, and I really did enjoy that. But what are some of the things that you have to do to get ready for a site survey? So it's like, as I'm a customer, what are some of the things that I need to give to you so you're ready to do the site survey?
Okay. Let me explain you how is the process from the moment the order has been passed on to the technical department,
Mm-hmm.
and how do we deal with those orders that we need to survey, basically.
Right.
So once the order has been passed on to the technical department, we will arrange for an interview. That will be like a phone interview.
Right.
And the idea of that interview is basically to try to gather all the relevant and useful information for us to be able to carry out the survey in a very efficient way.
Right.
So during that interview, we will ask our customers basically the status of the project, what they are expecting from us, and what they want to achieve with the project. Also, we will need to know if they have any special requirements or anything,
Special needs for that balcony.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
We will also ask for some pictures just to assess what kind of tools do we need to take on site for us to do a proper job.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say the status of the job, are you saying, whether it's in the beginning stages, middle stages, or towards the end? Is that where you're
so basically what we need to understand and to make sure is that the project is ready for us to come and carry out the survey. Because for us to do a good job, the site needs to be in the right state. And this is because basically we will come only once to do the survey,
right?
And so the project needs to be ready.
Right.
So from those pictures we can gather whether the project is ready or not, or we will advise the customer you will need to do this or finalize this or that.
Yes.
So that when we arrive, everything is ready and we can do a good job, and then the survey is gonna be very productive.
Right. So the survey that I went on, you guys have, there's several tools that you guys use, like the digital tools and things like that. Can you kind of explain to me how those tools work and how they help you do your job better?
Yeah, of course. So we've got digital tools, as you said before, and also very simple tools like a tape measurement and those kind of simple tools like a level or the most probably useful tool is a tool called Leica. And this is basically a laser that will allows you to basically take points, different points of the area that we need to survey, and it's quite precise.
Right.
So if we need to survey curve or stairs or a little bit more complex areas or different angles, with this tool is it's gonna be very precise, and we will be gathering all the exact information for us to manufacture like a great product that is gonna fit.
For the customer. So like this product or this piece of equipment allows you to get the most accurate measurements possible for that.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So on my phone, I did have a question from a customer, a client, is if I don't have these tools and I'm really not good at measuring, and I'm not doing a site survey. Say I'm not doing a site survey, and I'm actually sending you measurements. What do I need to do, or what do I need to know to make sure those measurements I provide you are as close to what you need as possible?
Well, for the customers that they don't want us to come over and survey,
right.
We of course what we need to gather is also status of the project as well, because we need to know if the dimensions that are going to give us are the final dimensions,
right.
as we need to manufacture everything from from the dimensions that are going to be like the real dimensions, the final dimensions. So basically what we need, let's say if it's like a U-shaped balustrade,
yes,
we will need, for example,
which this one was. This was a U-shape.
Okay. Basically what we would need is to assess first if the system would need, if they go for a system that would need any post.
Right.
So we would need to get the dimension first, let's say the dimension of the edge of the balustrade, and then we will need to know where the structure is in relation to that edge.
Right. So the edge, so where the balustrade sits, you kind of need to know where the edge of that and what's underneath the structure.
We will need to know what kind of structure they've got. We will need to know if the structure is flashing with the edge of the balcony, let's say.
Right.
And if not, what's the offset from the edge to the structure, so that we can position the post and the balustrade in the right position,
right,
to be able to fix the balustrade onto the structure.
Yeah. So if the structure is here and there's like, say, a little lip here, we need to make sure that we're not drilling into that little lip.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if the system it's gonna need post, the post would need to go down onto the structure.
Right.
If the system it's within the parameters that allows us to get away without using any post.
Yes.
We don't need to reach the main structure,
right,
and it would be enough just to fix onto the finished floor level, let's say.
All right, so let's say that we've gone through with those measurements, because those are, I guess for someone like me, those are kind of complicated measurements, right? So let's say that I measure the best that I can. I send you all the information, and you guys start designing from those measurements. At any point, so if I bring out, say, a builder, when we get to the end, if those measurements or those designs do not fit like my balcony or my structure, what happens then? What happens to the product then?
Okay, so basically during the process of designing the balustrade, we of course will send drawings for approval, and if the customer has any amendments to be made,
right,
we will of course amend the drawing accordingly. We can amend the drawing if we haven't sent that to production, basically.
Right.
Our system it has like a small flexibility in terms of lengths, but it's better to be as much accurate as possible, to be able to deliver a good product that actually meets the customer
their expectation and standards. Yeah, I get you. When we measure, is it better to be over a little bit or under? Would it be? Is it safe to say we needed a little? It's better to be a little bit over in measurements.
Well, that will really be depending on basically the kind of shape of the balustrade, right, and also the kind of structure. Right. Sometimes the structure is quite limited, so we cannot play that much, moving the balustrade in or out or adjusting the left or right.
Right.
But of course, I would say a little bit over would be like, I don't know, providing an overlong handrail for them to cut it on side or something like that will help.
A little buffer or something.
Yeah.
So, but overall, the best thing to do is to be as accurate as
yeah,
possible.
as possible. Yeah.
And I think to do that, I would need you to come out and do a site survey for me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and that's why basically we offer this service.
Are there some of our products that are, I guess, more difficult for people to measure or yourself to measure than others, like with angles or things like that? Is that a more difficult process for everyone?
Yeah, of course. Like if it's a very like simple, quite straightforward system, of course there's not more complications in it. Like a straight balustrade wouldn't have much complications.
Right.
But if it's like a curved balustrade or a balustrade that is gonna be conventional angles,
Yes.
or for example a balustrade that is gonna go down onto onto the stairs.
Okay.
So those
So the more creative type deals you have to. So with that, are those products or those balustrades, are they more expensive than say like just a U, or does that factor into anything, or is it just more difficult to design?
it's a little bit of everything basically.
Right.
So yeah, it's more complicated to design because it takes more time,
Right.
and also you need to be quite precise with the dimensions, because of course, let's say for example a balustrade for a stair, we need to meet angles for the rake section basically, and those angles need to be spot on, because if the angle is not right, it's not gonna, like the handrail and the glass is not gonna be accurate with what we have on site.
Right.
So we need to make
Right. So right up front, these things need to be. Otherwise, you have a piece of glass that you can't use. Right?
Basically, it's not gonna fit basically if the angle is not accurate.
Right. So okay. I'd hate to get all the way to that point and then add some extra time to my project. Okay. So let's go back. Can I take you back, Fernando, back to the site survey that you and I went on and the information that you gathered? When you gather that information from, say, the Leica equipment, from there, we input that into CAD. Is that how that works? So if I'm a customer, what's that process from? You leave my house, you have that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So basically we carried out the survey, and then we take all the dimensions. We do basically we make some sketch on site as well, and then we pass all that information onto AutoCAD.
Right. And that's the system so that's a universal system.
Yeah, that's a universal system. Yeah, basically. And after that, we will send drawings for the approval of the customer. Of course, as I said before, we will take full responsibility on the dimensions that we take. But what we need to get the customer approved is basically the specifications of the system, and that they are happy with basically the shape of the system and the design in general. But they, of course, are not going to take responsibility in the dimensions or anything like that.
So when you say responsibility, so say I come to you and maybe I have a design that is kind of awkward or maybe doesn't fit building regulations in some way. Do we have a hand in the building regulation side of it? Would we be able to help them, or would the customer have to figure out what the building regulations is for that type of system?
Okay, basically our system, all of our systems are designed based on structural calculations that will meet the building regulations. The system itself will meet the building regulations.
I got you.
But of course, the specifications of the structure of each customer is different.
It's different. Okay.
So they need to make sure that the structure meets the building regulations. We would advise what you need in order to meet the building regulations. For example, the balustrade needs to be at least 1100 from the finished floor level to the top of the handrail. So we will give advice on to what is that building regs are expecting from them in order to pass the inspection.
So we do have, our part is we're going to design this product. We know it meets regulations because that's our design.
Exactly.
Right. But if you have a structure or you've done something on your end that doesn't meet building regulations.
I mean, we know that if the system itself, like there are some rules, some parameters,
Right.
that the system basically needs to meet.
Yes.
If the system is not meeting those parameters, of course, we know that probably it will fail building regulations. So we would advise our customer not to do it.
Yes.
But is the last word is it's on them.
It's on them. Okay, so I give you a design. You look at it and say, oh, this might not work. We can design this. Excuse me. But in the end, this might not work. You need to check. Now, once I get it and I think, you know what? I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to do it anyway. At that point, if it fails, that's on me because I didn't take your advice and I didn't. Right. So there are some things that fall in my court on that end.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to call that one a day. I know that's a lot of information, and I want to thank Fernando for helping me out with that information. If there's any more information that you guys want or need, you can also find this on our website under the knowledge base section. But like I said, Fernando, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I've had a great time, and guys, and I hope you guys have had a great time also with this information. So until next time, you guys work on those projects. Make sure they're going to plan. And if they're not, get the help that you need. And that help could be with us. All righty? Fernando, thank you, man.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Okay.